Oh man, oh man, oh man. Yo, it's about to get real. Listen, y'all, welcome right here to Talk to Me podcast with your boy Trent. Man, listen, I got a good one for you today, man. Welcome to our very first podcast, man. We're going to upload one of these videos, once a week, man. And we're going to take out some time, man, to just talk about some real stuff, man. And just keep it 100 with you, with everything that's popping, you know what I'm saying, man. And as we go forward, we're gonna have more people on and everything like that. But you know what, we're gonna just let's just take baby steps, okay? All right. But listen, no, real talk. Let's sit down and talk real quick. I was reading this article about Dewayne Wade, man. Everybody know Dewayne Wade, played for the Miami Heats, man, with LeBron back in the day, man. And recently he been getting a lot of talk for how he pretty much is raising his son, and recently I know this is a touchy subject for some, but really, I don't give a damn. We're going to talk about it today. But, he is letting his son, chop his thing off, man. And, and everyone's like, oh, man, don't do that, man. He's young, man. Boosie actually came out and was like telling him, like, bro, hey, if he want to be gay, let him be gay, just don't chop his thing off. You know what I'm saying? And so he's been getting a lot of feedback and most of them negative. Of course, you got some good people calling in and talking about it, but a lot of people are saying that, man, you're not giving him a chance to live. But I was reading this article, Entertainment News actually broke it, but Dewayne Wade is talking and he's sharing some advice on how he's navigating parenthood. And one of the things that he said in the article, and I'm going to read just a little bit of it to you, but it caught my attention. But the article goes on to say that Dewayne Wade's parenting tips are nothing but net, as the NBA champ who shares kids Zaire, 20, and Zaya, 15, with ex-wife Funches. If you know her first name, that's good for you. I'm not even going to try it, real talk. But they also share son Xavier, who's 9, and Asia, and there's also dad to Kavaya, who's 4, whose mom is wife Gabrielle Union. And he's noted being a parent is quite a unique role. And he goes on to say, to be a parent, I think we all have our own ways. It's not just one way. I know in the community that we come from, the black community, especially as a black man growing up, a lot of things was perceived as weak for us, and I understood it. But as Dewayne Wade shared, he was able to take his experience from his younger years and use it to move forward with his children differently. I think a lot of people, we have to let a lot of things that we were taught and we learned at an early age, kind of let it go, and then allow life to show you, allow life to help you grow, he said. Allow your experiences to let you see different and sit back and enjoy the show, man. Dewayne Wade also added, watching your kids grow up is an amazing thing. Try not to get in the way, but make sure you're there enough to help them to reach their full potential. Listen, I agree with him in this regard. Like, I as a father myself of one, a lot of things, I find myself resorting to because that's how I grew up. Like, that's how it was taught to me, and, my wife had to really, like, sit down and help me realize, like, look, what was okay for you back then, is not okay now. And I talked to a lot of other people, and they even talked to me in terms of education, talk about, hey, I remember when they came out and the school was like, hey, we're going to change up how we teach math and all in the ways that we're going to introduce math to your kids, and all the parents came out and they was like, hey man, hey, what's wrong with the way that I learned? Well, what if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But my question is today, like, as I begin to think about it, man, is that, who's to say some of the things that we learned and grew up with was wrong? Like, just keeping it 100 with you. Like, what if what we was taught was wrong, but we just went with it because that's mom, that's grandma, that's grandpa. They know better. They know what we need for our lives. And now that we're older now and got a little young I call my kids, the baby kids. But you got little baby kids running around the house looking up at you, and now you realizing, man, like even as my child, I don't want her to take on some of the things that I had to go through. Of course, kids are going to go through their own trials and tribulations, of course. But the things that I went through shouldn't have to be a default for her life. Like, I want her to grow. I want her to experience life as she continued to live life. Not to continue to live life or grow under the shadow of my life. I often hear a lot of times from parents is that, well, we did it and look how I turned out. And the first thing that comes to mind is like, bro, I know you and how you turned out sometimes, bro. Do you really want someone else to go through that same thing? I believe, that we go through things in life for a reason. I believe that, our trials, our stories, everything that we've gone through, it will cause us to grow if we choose to accept it and learn from it. And it will also shape who we are. But I don't think that the stuff that we went through have to be a default for our kids or for the next generation. And I see a lot of kids, that's where the problem begins to rise. I was talking to a young girl over at Savannah State, and she was telling me how she didn't want to be in college. And, I was like, why? And she's from Atlanta. And she was like, well, the only reason why I'm here is because I'm a first generation to college in my family, and everybody wants me to be here. But now that she's there, she's struggling because that's not where her heart is, and she feels so much pressure and so much, like the eyes is all on her because she's living under the shadow and the expectations of her entire family, and she caves because it's not where her heart is. And I told her, I made a joke of the situation. I was like, well, you kind of should have said that before you got $25,000 in the hole. But now, since you're here, do the best you can with the situation for you. But we talked some more, and it was a really good conversation. But it just brought me back to this article. I mean, as men, man, we have a whole lot of pride issues. I say that again. We have a whole lot of pride issues, man. And I was taught, hey, when you get married, when you get your wife, whatever, you pay the bills, provide a roof over the head, make sure everyone's fed, and you're good. But nowadays, man, I'm realizing, man, as for a man to love and have a good foundational marriage, it's more than just providing. It's more than just providing financially. It's more than just providing a roof over your head. It's more than just providing. You gotta take care of your spouse. You got to take care of your wife. You got to love her. You got to elevate her. You got to reassure her every single day that, you know what, babe, you are valuable to me. You are the sexiest thing in the world. My eyes is nowhere else. Man, that takes work. That takes work outside of work. I got 2 jobs. And after I get off my main job, I got to go home and get on my other one. Because guess what, man? It's for anything to last today, it takes work, man. It takes work. And I do believe that, times are changing, man. And the things that was good back then, that's great. But now as time continues to move forward, I do believe that if we don't learn to adapt, we will be left behind. You see it all the time in the sports world, in the entertainment world, and if you don't learn to adapt, you will fall behind. And the folks who are steady out here just saying, and living the same mantra from 1993, the 90s, it's going to be a struggle, man, and it's going to be hard for them to understand the age that we live in because they won't grow. Listen, that's all that I have, man, for today, man. Listen, I want to hear what you think about it. Send me some emails, man. Send me an email if you want to get on the show. You got some music, you got a story to tell, man. I'll put it up here. We'll talk about it. Or you want to get on the show. Listen, man, send me an email at talktome843@gmail.com. I say it again, talktome843@gmail.com, and I will definitely check you out. But listen, though, it was a pleasure sitting down and talking to you today. I'll catch you next week. Have a blessed week, man. God bless.